guys, it's Phoebe from Who's Phoebe and welcome back to another Doctor Who episode. It's just occurred to me that this is going to be like, next week is going to be the last review I do of this season. Wow. So if you've never seen my faces on your screens before, please click that blue subscribe button down below and also click the notifications bell to get notifications every single time I upload so you don't miss a video. Before we get into this video though, I do have some Doctor Who news. Now, I could have done this a different way. I could have done Doctor Who news, then the review, but I'm going to do the Doctor Who news in this video just because it's relevant, okay? Relevant. So, it has been revealed today and also confirmed by the BBC itself that Ncuti Gatwa is leaving Doctor Who after this season. Also, Disney funding has been pulled, so Disney will no longer continue to fund Doctor Who. So the BBC are on their own. This has obviously baffled the BBC because they're not sure what to do at this point now without the Disney funding. They can still make the show as normal. They can still make the show as normal, they just won't have the Disney funding behind them anymore. Also, leaving alongside Ncuti Gatwa is showrunner Russell T Davies. He is also going to be leaving as well, which I really was not expecting that because I heard he'd already written scripts for seasons 3 and 4 already, so honestly I have no idea. But according to the BBC, Russell is also leaving as well for Doctor Who. So it's going to be interesting. Next, I could be wrong. This was like from an article from like a month ago, so I think Ncuti Gatwa is definitely leaving, as that's been confirmed by the BBC, but Russell T Davies hasn't said he's leaving, or otherwise I feel like we would have heard by now. So I could be wrong. Russell could still stay on for another couple of years. I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, Disney funding has been pulled from Doctor Who and the BBC will continue to be solo fund it. Ncuti Gatwa will leave the series after this season. But the good news is the anniversary for the day New Who came out is later on this year, 20 years, and we are going to have a returning Doctor, which is not who you expect it to be. Christopher Eccleston is coming back to play a version of the Doctor for a one-off special alongside companion Billie Piper. So that is interesting to know about that. I'm very excited to see how that happens. Just because Christopher Eccleston wouldn't have been my first choice as returning Doctor, but his relationship with the BBC as of late has actually been getting better. And also former Doctor Who showrunner Stephen Moffat is actually going to be writing that episode. So I'm very interested to see how much that is going to change. And don't worry guys, even after this series finishes next week, I will be continuing to do reviews of the classic eras as well. Just so you guys are fully aware, I'm not going to be stopping the Doctor Who videos afterwards. So, now that that little bit of Doctor Who tidbit news is out of the way, let's get on with this review of Wish World. Now, if you don't know how my reviews work, and this is for the sole fact of brand new viewers, I'm not doing this for my old viewers because my old viewers know full well how this works. I do the positives and negatives of every episode, and then I rate the episodes out of 10. So 10 is really good, 1 is it was okay, I didn't like this episode, 5 is it was okay. Luckily for this season and last season, I haven't rated any of the episodes below like a 6. I think maybe I rated Space Babies lower than that last year, but I don't know, I'd have to go back and rewatch it. Also, I've made a little Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor playlist of all my reviews of last year, and also including the ones from this year. And also I've made a playlist of season 14 reviews and also a little playlist of season 15 reviews as well. So you can also click on those playlists to catch up on any of the episodes, any of the reviews that you may have missed. Okay, so there's a little playlist of Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor playlist of all the videos I've done, like filmed wise for Ncuti Gatwa and all the reviews and stuff. And there's also 2 different playlists for season 15 and also season 14 reviews as well. Okay, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So, Wishworld, this is absolutely fantastic. Now, I was not expecting this episode to be a bad one. I knew it was going to be good. Also, we went into this episode completely blind. We had no Next Time trailer in the Interstellar Song Contest. We had no Next Time trailer, so we all went into this episode really blind, which makes it even more interesting if you can go into an episode completely blind, because your mind is more open to like the whole idea of it and things like that. So we have the Holy Trinity, which I was not expecting. We obviously knew that Conrad was going to have some kind of influence in the final, obviously, but I was not expecting the final member of the Unholy Trinity to be Omega. Now, a little bit of Doctor Who history. I'm sorry, this review is going to be really long because there's a lot of stuff to unpack in this particular episode. But also, not just that as well, but there's like history as well I want to explain. So before I get on to making my point, Omega was the very first Time Lord of Gallifrey. He was the one who invented time travel. The Time Lord then exiled him into an antimatter universe. Long story short. So, Omega has actually been defeated by the first, second and third Doctors in the 3 Doctors. He then later came back in the Arc of Infinity to battle up against the 5th Doctor and also the Time Lords as well. So the fact that Omega is back now is interesting, because in the Arc of Infinity you think Omega is gone. Clearly he is gone, but obviously not for long. Obviously, I don't know, but Omega is back. I don't know how, but he's back. Obviously, we can't ever get permanently rid of Omega. In this episode, we also have the incredible Rani, played by Archie Panjabi. The original Rani was played by Kate O'Mara back in 1987, alongside the 5th Doctor and alongside the 6th Doctor, played by Colin Baker, and also Sylvester McCoy's 7th Doctor as well. So yeah, the Rani, I want to know what those episodes were. So yeah, we obviously, so the first time we see the Rani is in The Mark of the Rani in 1967. So in season 22, and the final time we see her is in The Time and the Rani in season 24 with the 7th Doctor, so played by Sylvester McCoy. So yeah, that's what those 2 episodes were, and that's the first time we ever see the Rani as well, which is really nice. So yeah, the Colin Baker's 6th Doctor went up against the Rani, and so did Sylvester McCoy's the 6th Doctor. Basically, the reason she was exiled is because of her experiment. She made rats too big and they ate the Lord President's cat. Long story short. So yeah, the Rani is played by the incredible Raju Panjabi. Honestly, she is incredible as the Rani. Like, trust me, she is amazing. That actress can do no wrong. She has made the Rani so evil. Also, so time to get on to what I liked about this episode. I liked this episode so much. The Rani now has the ability to turn people into animals. Like, she literally goes to pick up a baby for Conrad. And what I liked about this episode is she turned the mother Violet into Violet. She was like, and then she turned the children into ducks. She kissed the baby and was like, and she turned the dad into an owl and she was like, kissed the baby and then. So that is absolutely incredible. I loved that moment. I mean, the Rani literally has that power. I don't know if she's always had that power. If she has had that power. We've never seen it until now. I thought that was really cool, having the Rani having the ability to turn, you know, people into animals or flowers or whatever. So that was really fun. Also, Mrs. Flood has now been reduced to a lackey for the Rani, which, can I just say, I really love. I knew when we had, obviously, the Rani bi-generated and stuff like that, I knew that we'd have Mrs. Flood as kind of like a lackey. Like, she's not as important now. Like, the Rani doesn't see Mrs. Flood as superior anymore. She literally just sees Mrs. Flood as this lackey. So the Rani is now like the superior one, and she's just like this lackey who just follows her around, makes sandwiches for Conrad, and just does everything that the Rani asks her to, basically. Which I found was an interesting dynamic, because the Doctor wouldn't be like that with like his second body. Like, he definitely was not like that in the 60th anniversary when him and the 14th Doctor regenerated. Like, yes, Scooty Gutwell was the Doctor, but the other Doctor was the Doctor as well. So those two saw each other as both authority, so it didn't really reduce anything to like one Doctor was a lackey. But this time the dynamic is different, and I really love that with Mrs. Flood. Like, she has been reduced to the lackey, and having Omega in there as well. The Doctor at this point is completely powerless. Seeing the Doctor and Belinda as a married couple, posing as Mr. John Smith and Miss Belinda Smith, is just incredible. I really loved this. I really loved the Doctor sort of being human and going to work at the Unified National Insurance Team. Which, can I just say, I really love how they've had to come up with a human type name of UNIT, because UNIT actually stands for Unified Intelligent Task Force. In this case, it stands for Unified National Insurance Team. Brilliant, Russell. Thank you so much for putting that subtle thing in there. So yeah, I really did love this episode, especially the Doctor being so human. Now, when I say I was not disappointed that this episode did not deliver anything, I was not disappointed. I was so happy that this episode delivered everything it should have done. We also had a glimpse of Susan. So the Doctor has no idea what's going on. He has no idea. He's without a TARDIS, he's without a sonic screwdriver, he's basically just under the Rani's influence at this point. And it takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of people to help the Doctor kind of see through what is reality at this point. We have an appearance of Susan on the television. Absolutely love that. I did say in last week's review I would have been disappointed if they didn't bring Susan back in as a cameo, because I feel like they would have wasted an opportunity there to bring her back. So I'm really glad they didn't waste an opportunity to bring back Susan. They literally bring her back for like one cameo with no lines, but that's okay, because the Doctor seeing his granddaughter is usually enough to get him out of this thing and click back into the fabric of reality. Oh my god, I literally just said the fabric of reality. That is a Doctor Who quote. This is what happens when you watch so much Doctor Who. You begin to have like subconscious like things coming out in sentences, but I'll take that whole fabric of reality thing. I'm not going to cut that out of this video. I absolutely love it. So the whole of reality, the Rani is experimenting. She's got this palace of bones, which I absolutely love how they've given the Rani more kind of, you know, making things worse. Also, we have a cameo of the Rogue giving the Doctor a warning, and his only warning is one sentence: tables don't do that. So it turns out when people have doubts, the tables have been pushing the cups through and then breaking them. So that's interesting, and I really love seeing the Rogue again for a cameo, warning the Doctor, tables don't do that. Because we knew for the Doctor to become the Doctor again, or remember he is the Doctor, it would have to be something big. It'd have to be either Susan coming back or the Rogue. and I feel like the Rogue definitely delivered. It's a shame that Susan didn't deliver the message. Like, we do see Susan as a cameo in this episode, which I do like, but it actually takes the Rogue to bring the Doctor back, realising that something is very, very wrong. And when the Doctor begins to remember who the Rani actually is, he is shocked. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, he is shocked about why the Rani is doing what she's doing. And I think that this really kind of shows the Doctor and the Rani's relationship. Like, the Doctor is always going to see the Rani as his enemy. Like, that is no doubt about that. I think also what is like really great about this episode is like not just like the Doctor and the Rani up together. I honestly do think that this is a fantastic episode because of how it all plays out. I think as well that's a really kind of good way of looking at it as well, like how well that this is all fabricated together. Like, the Rani is literally doing experiments in order to destroy Earth, basically, and she is after Omega, which I found interesting. Once the Doctor begins to remember, literally you see the flashbacks of like the first incarnations of all the Doctors, including Jodie Whittaker's Doctor and also David Tennant's 14th Doctor as well. Love those little appearances in there. Once the Doctor remembers, he's like, great, you're the Rani, you're my enemy, and you're destroying the Earth. So this is interesting to see the Doctor basically powerless. It's not something we ever see in Doctor Who that often. The only reason I say that often is because it has been times where we have seen the Doctor completely powerless. You know, we have seen the Doctor powerless before, so that's why I'm saying it's not, we don't see the Doctor completely powerless as often, because there has been powerless representation in Doctor Who where the Doctor is completely powerless against his enemies. So seeing him completely powerless against the Rani this time is fascinating. Also, I'm going to give this scene a bonus scene, because a bonus point for this scene, because I am so glad Doctor Who finally put disability representation in Doctor Who. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. As an autistic person, I don't see that much disability representation on TV, or in Doctor Who for that matter. And in this camp, Conrad is kind of, he's basically manipulating this world in a weird way. And these people with disabilities have got this like little camp with tents and stuff for the blind, virtually blind, partially blind, autism, basically disabilities arranged from physical disabilities to non-visible disabilities, like if people are in wheelchairs, to people who are neurodivergent like myself, who've got autism and things like that, are in this camp. I am so happy that they decided to include disability representation. That means a lot to me as well, and I'm sure it also means a lot to other people as well. You know, other people who've got disabilities. So I'm really glad that they've included disability representation in this particular episode. I really did love that, and props up to Russell T Davies for doing that. I thought that was an absolutely incredible, like the fact that he was willing to show disability representation in Doctor Who for the first time in like ever. I know Shirley Bingham is in a wheelchair in unit anyway, but this whole disability camp they had in this episode just reinforces the whole disability thing, that it's not just people in wheelchairs, it's neurodivergent people like myself who've got autism, and other people with Down syndrome and things like that. Which I cannot say enough about that scene. That was my favourite scene, I think. Not just because of the whole disability thing, but because of how it was represented in the episode as well. So yeah, I really did love that scene. That was definitely a good scene to have in like an episode. Also, I feel like a lot of autistic people are going to be like looking at that scene and thinking, Doctor Who finally did it. Doctor Who included all sorts of disabilities into this scene. And I'm not one to argue with Russell, and I absolutely did love this scene. It was absolutely incredible, and I just loved it. Anyway, enough about that scene, even though it was my favourite. Ruby seems to be the only one who knows what's going on. Mel just is going with the flow, so it's going to be interesting to see the Doctor gather a team next week, because the Doctor is going to need all the help he can get. He's going to need all the help from Belinda, he's going to need all the help from Ruby, he's going to need all the help from Unit as well. He's going to need all the help basically, because he is literally at this point powerless against the Rani. I love that scene where the Doctor is falling down. Can I just point out, this seems to be the normal for the Doctor. He seems to constantly be falling off things. I could state so many obvious examples right now. Like, I could literally list so many obvious examples where the Doctor's had to windsurf. But I'm not going to. But I did like the fact that the Doctor's got to get out of this next week. So once the Rani reveals her plan at midnight, the whole of reality is breaking. Buildings are starting to crumbling around, and we've got Omega. And the reveal of Omega, I personally thought was really, really awesome. The way it was like, the way that the Rani was keen to find Omega is really interesting. She is obviously willing to team up with Omega because he, like her, was treated quite poorly by the Time Lords. The Rani was also treated quite poorly by the Time Lords as well. Like, she was exiled for experimenting, and which the Time Lords wouldn't have had a problem with if the Rani didn't experiment on rats and made them choose, which ate the Lord President's cat, leading them to exile her. If the Rani hadn't done that, then the Time Lords wouldn't have had an issue with her, but they did. So yeah, I did really like how the Rani has gone one up. She's got this palace made of bones. She's got the silly Rassilon in there. And Conrad is basically just imagining this place. Basically, this is his world. Now, we all know that Conrad is not a fan-likeable character, and Ruby's starting to remember who Conrad actually is, and Shirley's using unit technology, obviously, to find out. So I really did like how skilled Ruby was in this episode as well, and literally, I've got the Harry Potter books behind there. They literally used a Harry Potter book cover to read out Doctor Who stories from. I loved how that book was called Doctor Who and the Deadly Whip. That was literally the best, and it was in a Harry Potter book cover as well. So that was just pure genius, can I just point out, and also very subtle to Harry Potter fans as well. It's like a nod to Harry Potter fans at the same time. So I did really also like that as well. I love how Conrad's got a baby, but the Doctor has got a lot of people to face off against next week. Like, the Doctor has got to face off against the Rani and Mrs. Flood, and he's also got to face off against Conrad and Omega. That is 3 people he has to face off with. The Doctor is going to be completely powerless, but he has to stop the Rani and also save Earth at the same time. So I think, I'm still doing this review, guys, this is just my... There was no next time trailer for Doctor Who. So next week, we're going into the episode again completely blind. Also, I should probably point out that next week the episodes will not be released on BBC iPlayer first. It will be released on BBC One first and then on BBC iPlayer later on in the evening. I don't know why it's being released like that. I think maybe, I don't know, it's weird. So I won't be able to do my review as early as I would like to, which is annoying. So yeah, but I do love that amazing cliffhanger at the end. The Doctor just looks like he is going to be completely powerless against the Rani. and I love that, especially against Omega. So it's going to be interesting to see the Doctor face off against Omega, because we've seen the first, second and third Doctors face off against Omega, and we've also seen the fifth Doctor face off against Omega with the Time Lord's help. So this will be incredibly interesting to see the Doctor face off again with his actual greatest enemy. A lot of people say that the Master is the Doctor's greatest enemy. That would be true as well, but Omega and the Rani are also the Doctor's like worst ever enemies as well he's ever encountered in his life. So this will be interesting. The Doctor has obviously got to make it up a team of Ruby, Belinda and Unit to fight the Rani, because this is the only way he's going to be able to do it. So hopefully next week we'll have the Doctor back in the TARDIS. I'm filming!
Your job time?
I know, I'm filming a video. I'll be out as soon as I'm finished.
Right, okay.
Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so the Doctor at this point is completely powerless, and I think that's going to work well for next week's episode, just saying. So overall, I really did like this episode. It was a great episode. I think Wishing Well was really good. It keeps getting better and better. I loved Conrad in this. I'm only saying that because like Conrad was great as a protagonist for the Doctor in this episode. I also loved the Rani as well, played by Archie Punjab. That was really good. I think she really establishes herself in the role as the militant Rani. And also I love how Russell T Davies has brought her back. Technically speaking, in the behind the scenes, Ncuti Gatwa actually requested for the Rani to actually be a character he wants to face off against, because Time Lord v Time Lord is just incredibly great for anyone to face off against, I think, as well. So I definitely think, so Ncuti Gatwa did actually request for the Rani to be actually, you know, like have the Rani at some point during his run as well. And it's interesting to know that the Rani did actually escape the Time Lord just like the Master did, and also Omega did as well. I thought Omega was gone, but clearly he was not gone. So brilliant writing, Doctor Who, fantastic. I also really loved in this episode how the Doctor was so human. He was acting so human. It was really fun to watch how human he was, and the fact that the Doctor's an alias is actually John Smith, and it was used very well in this episode, I think. And the Doctor just strolling into Unit at that point was just like, I'm pretty much on time. You know, like he owned that scene. I think Ncuti Gatwa really did own that scene. And Belinda playing a wife and a mum role in this episode was just props up as well. So well done to Veritas Asuf and Ncuti Gatwa for pulling this episode off. You guys did really no wrong. Honestly, these guys did no wrong in this particular episode too. I really did enjoy this episode so much. It was so nice just to watch it the day before my birthday. By the time you're watching this, I would have already celebrated my birthday, so it was actually really nice to sort of watch this before my birthday, this episode coming out. I really did enjoy this episode, and I cannot wait to see what happens next week. We are literally next week. There was no next time trailer for next week's episode. There was no next time trailer. Literally, all it ended on was the Doctor falling, and then literally you get the ending titles and the to be continued part, which bravo Doctor Who. So next week we are actually going online, but the first thing I do want to, second to last thing I do want to talk about is that incredible cold open we had. We literally had the Doctor and Belinda waking up in the same bed, with the Doctor going, with Belinda going, good morning darling, and the Doctor going, good morning sweetheart, and then we have Enter Poppy the baby coming in on the bed, they're watching Conrad on TV, and then boom, we have the titles come up. The one thing that this series has been great of is cold opens. I really love the cold opens in this particular series. My camera's beeping at me. But yeah, I've been really loving the cold opens in this series. This has definitely been my favourite bit. So overall, this was a really great episode. I really enjoyed it. and I cannot wait to watch it again at some point. So I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. So this is the second clip I'm just going to add in to finish off the video, because I cannot film more than 30 minutes on my camera, which is incredibly annoying because it starts going red when it tries to cut me off. So overall, I really enjoyed this episode. It was such a great episode as well. So I'm going to give it a 10. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So yeah, I'm just going to add this clip on because yeah, I've only got like half an hour to film on my camera, so it gets really annoying when it's like kind of, you know, when I'm cutting it quite fine. I should have maybe wrapped it up at 29 minutes, but meh. So yeah, I do apologise for the length of this video as well. My fault really. I didn't realise that I rambled on for literally like nearly full on half an hour. So yeah, overall I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10, and I cannot wait for next week's The Reality War. I'm actually going to go watch it in the cinema. So yeah, I really did love this episode. It was a great episode, and I cannot wait for next week's episode because it is going to be absolutely fantastic. Until next week, Allons-y.